You're invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Like racing? Try the Checkered Flag Show, hosted by Ace Naylor on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. All ages and divisions in regional and national fields. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, conscious sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the Bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, and rebroadcast at 6:30 p.m. and noon daily, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are LCMTV.com, your multimedia connection. Tune in for the fun. It's live TV at its best.
And good afternoon. Welcome to LCM TV News at Noon. We're not your normal news. I'm Pete Schiffman.
And I'm Terry Larson, filling in for Megan Berger and Amanda Gonzalez.
And thank you for joining us this afternoon. In our leading story, former Virginia Senator Jim Webb is jumping into the race for president, becoming the latest Democrat to try for a primary upset over frontrunner Hillary Clinton. Webb's entry brings the total number of Democrat presidential candidates to 5. Clinton continues to dominate the field, though Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders lately has been gaining in the polls. Webb 69 is cut from a far different political cloth than the dependent, socialist-leaning Vermont senator. Sorry about that, folks.
I'm used to doing that off camera.
She's my wife, so I'm used to that. A highly decorated Vietnam veteran and former Secretary of the Navy under the Reagan administration, Webb has been seriously mulling a presidential run since establishing an exploratory committee in November 2014. Considered a moderate to conservative Democrat who supports gun rights and is strong on defense, Webb contends his candidacy would appeal to a wide swath of voters who feel disenfranchised by Washington politics. In a statement, he said the country needs a fresh approach to its problems. Webb also chided both parties on national security. He said he would not have advocated the Iraq War or used military force in Libya during the Arab Spring. I warned repeatedly that this use of our military did not meet the test of a grave national security interest. Webb cited his military experience as well as his domestic policy record in the Senate. As a senator, Webb was credited with sponsoring and shepherding the new GI Bill, which gave returning Iraq and Afghanistan vets improved education and other benefits for the first time since World War II. His last days in office were marked by effort to reform the prison system, particularly mandatory sentences for non-violent drug offenders. Webb, who also is a war novelist, served under Reagan from 1984 to 1987, but quit after refusing to reduce the size of the Navy during budget talks. He was a U.S. Marine Corps platoon and company commander in Vietnam, earning a Navy Cross, the Silver Star, 2 Bronze Star medals, and 2 Purple Hearts for his actions in combat. Most polls show him trailing with just over 2% nationally, roughly tied with former Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley.
A ferry carrying 189 passengers and crew capsized Thursday, minutes after it left central Philippine port in choppy waters, leaving at least 35 dead and 20 others missing. They said at least 134 people from the MB Kim Nirvana were rescued by nearby fishing boats and Coast Guard personnel or swam to safety off Ormoc City on Leyte Island. Coast Guard spokesman Armin Balilo said the wooden outrigger ferry was leaving Ormoc for the Camotes Island, about 27 miles to the north, when it was lashed by strong waves. He said the captain and some of the crew were rescued and are in custody pending an investigation. Coast Guard officials and survivors said it wasn't immediately clear what caused the 36-ton ferry, which was carrying a heavy cargo of construction materials and bags of rice, to overturn. Survivors told the Associated Press by cell phone that the bow suddenly rose from the water before the vessel flipped over on one side, turning it upside down and trapping passengers underneath. Among the passengers who survived were at least 3 Americans and a Canadian, Lawrence Drake, 48, a retired firefighter from Rochester, New York. He said he was able to revive a woman who wasn't breathing while they were in the water via mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Drake said he also saved the woman's pregnant daughter and an 8-year-old boy. He said he saw at least 7 bodies floating in the water, including 2 children. TV footage showed Coast Guard rescuers and Army soldiers carrying survivors from rubber boats to a beach. Not far away, the bottom part of the vessel could be seen protruding from the water. A rescue leader said Army frogmen and Coast Guard divers were searching the overturned boat to find more survivors or retrieve bodies. The search was continuing into the night.
Authorities said Thursday a missing Phoenix area couple were killed and buried in the yard of a man who told investigators he was high on meth at the time. It's a long word, guys. Pinal County Sheriff Paul Babot said Jose Venezuela, 38, acknowledged killing Michael Croatia, 44, and his wife Tina, who's 42. Essentially, he confessed, Babot said at a news conference. Venezuela had been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. He is being held on $2 million cash bond. According to Babot, Venezuela was found with a .22 caliber revolver that authorities believe is the murder weapon. Venezuela made statements to an investigator that led to a search for the victims on his property. Babot said Venezuela borrowed a backhoe from an unsuspecting acquaintance to hide the bodies on his property in Maricopa. Thank God it's not our house.
Oh,
Instead,
we just moved from there.
Instead, what he did was he built not a makeshift grave, but an actual 6-foot grave. He put these victims in that grave and buried them. Very nice. 2 bodies were recovered from Venezuela's property and identified as the couple, authorities said. The grave was not noticeably initially, but because the suspect had piled other debris and materials on top of it. Don't laugh at me.
I'm sorry.
The couple was reported missing June 22nd by Michael Croatia's son after Tina Croatia didn't show up for work. Authorities went door to door, launched air and ground searches, and used dogs to try to track the scent. Sheriff officials served a search warrant Wednesday at Venezuela's residence, and deputies were seen digging in the property before the bodies were found.
Yes, and it's Valenzuela, not
I know
Venezuela.
I know it's Venezuela. I have a friend by that name.
Okay. The owners of a mom-and-pop bakery have just learned there is significant price to pay for following their religious beliefs. Aaron and Melissa Klein, the owners of Sweet Cakes by Melissa, have been ordered to pay $135,000 in damages to a lesbian couple after they refused to bake them a wedding cake in 2013. The Oregon Bureau of Labor and Industry awarded $60,000 to Laurel Bowman Cryer and $75,000 in damages to Rachel Bowman Cryer for emotional suffering. This case is not about a wedding cake or a marriage, the final order read. It is about a business's refusal to serve someone because of their sexual orientation. Under Oregon law, that is illegal. According to the BOLI, the lesbian couple suffered great angst. One of the women felt depressed and questioned whether there was something inherently wrong with sexual orientation she was born with. They said she had difficulty controlling her emotions and cried a lot. The woman experienced extreme anger, outrage, embarrassment, exhaustion, frustration, intense sorrow, and shame simply because the Kleins refused to provide them with a wedding cake. Within Oregon's public accommodations law is the basic principle of human decency that every person regarding their sexual orientation has the freedom to fully participate in society. The ruling states the ability to enter public places, to shop and dine, to move about unfettered by bigotry. Klein said he plans on appealing the ruling. Klein accused the BOLI of ordering him not to speak publicly about the case, an order he says is unconstitutional.
And once again, the IRS is in the news. The chief technology officer at the IRS was blown away after learning backup tapes that likely contained messages to and from controversial ex-official Lois Lerner were destroyed, according to an internal government watchdog report. The 1,600-page report, prepared by the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, examined the agency's handling of Lerner's missing emails and apparent computer crash. Lerner is the former official at the heart of the scandal over IRS targeting of the Tea Party and other conservative groups. but lawmakers were told last year that some of her electronic communications had been lost. The effort to recover those files has seemingly been marked by a string of blunders. Inspector General J. Russell George first told lawmakers last week that 422 backup tapes were magnetically erased around March 4, 2014, meaning thousands of emails might never be recovered. The IG report, which is not expected to be made public, does not point to any deliberate cover-up. The report says investigators found no evidence that the IRS and its employees purposely erased the tapes in order to conceal some of the emails in question. However, the report demonstrates the IRS did a sloppy job retaining documents despite a House Ways and Means Committee directive to do so. According to the report, IRS Chief Technology Officer Terry Milholland told the IG office he was blown away after learning the tapes had been demagnetized, a process known as degaussing. This was done at the IRS's IT center in Martinsburg, West Virginia. Those tapes are believed to have contained learner emails that were responsive to congressional demands and subpoenas. Backup tapes were destroyed as a result of IRS management, the report says, noting officials failed to appropriately follow a May 2013 directive from Milholland concerning record preservation. The report further states the IRS did not fully identify as a source or perform recovery attempts for emails associated with learner. It says that as many as 23,000 to 24,000 email messages may not have been provided to Congress.
Federal prosecutors said on Wednesday they had begun an investigation into possible collusion among the airlines to limit seating. Gee, didn't we already know that?
Yeah.
2 years after the Justice Department approved the latest in a wave of airline mergers, saying the combination would benefit consumers. In letters sent to airlines, prosecutors have asked for documents from the last 2 years related to statements and decisions they have made about limiting capacity on flight routes. By making it harder for passengers to find seats, airlines could restrain competition and increase fares. Emily Pierce, a Justice Department spokeswoman, said, "We're investigating potential unlawful coordination among some airlines. The inquiry, which appears to be in its early stages, is a significant shift for a department that in November 2013 cleared the way for the merger of American Airlines and U.S. Airways after initially filing suit to oppose it. The merger, bitterly opposed by consumer advocates, created the world's largest airline. Now, roughly 80% of the nation's air traffic is concentrated among 4 airlines: American, United, Delta, and Southwest. In approving the American-U.S. Airways merger, Justice Department officials accepted the core of the airline's argument that a combined airline would create more options for customers on busy routes than either airline could offer on its own. William J. Baer, an assistant attorney general for the Antitrust Division, told reporters at the time that the merger opens up the marketplace as never before and that it would disrupt today's cozy arrangements among major carriers. But since then, airline executives have begun speaking more openly with Wall Street analysts at an industry conference that last month in Miami about so-called capacity discipline industry jargon for limiting flights. American Airlines said on Wednesday that it would cooperate with the investigation, but it disputed any notion that the mergers had restrained competition. United Airlines also said they would comply with the request for documents. Delta said it had received the Justice Department's letter and was fully cooperating. Southwest did not respond to a request for comment. Last month, Senator Richard Blumenthal, Democrat of Connecticut, called on the Justice Department to take more aggressive action against the airlines, which have had surging profits as the industry has consolidated, saying consumers are paying sky-high fares and are trapped inside an uncompetitive market with a history of collusive behavior.
For those of you who remember the atrocities of World War II, this may be a nice story to listen to. Nicholas Winton, a Briton who said nothing for a half a century about his role in organizing the escape of 669 mostly Jewish children from Czechoslovakia on the eve of World War II, a righteous deed like those of Oskar Schindler and Raoul Wallenberg, died on Wednesday in Maidenhead, England, west of London. He was 106. It was only after Mr. Winton's wife found a scrapbook in the attic of their home in 1988, a dusty record of names, pictures, and documents detailing a story of redemption from the Holocaust, that he spoke of his all but forgotten work in the deliverance of children who, like the parents who gave them up to save their lives, were destined for Nazi concentration camps and extermination. For always ensuring honors and accolades in books and films, Mr. Winton was a reluctant hero, often compared to Schindler, the ethnic German who saved 1,200 Jews by employing them in his enamelware and munitions factories in Poland and Czechoslovakia, and to Wallenberg, the Swedish businessman and diplomat who used illegal passports and legation hideaways to save tens of thousands of Jews in Nazi-occupied Hungary. Mr. Winton, Sir Nicholas in England since 2003, when he was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II, was a London stockbroker in December 1938 when, on an impulse, he canceled a Swiss skiing vacation and flew to Prague at the behest of a friend who was aiding refugees in the Sudetenland, the western region of Czechoslovakia that had just been annexed by Germany. Mr. Winton found vast camps of refugees living in appalling conditions. There was no mass rescue effort in Czechoslovakia. Mr. Winton created one. It involved dangers, bribes, forgery, secret contacts with the Gestapo, 9 railroad trains, an avalanche of paperwork, and a lot of money. Nazi agents started following him. In his Prague hotel room, he met terrified parents desperate to get their children to safety, although it meant surrendering them to strangers in a foreign land. As their numbers grew, a storefront office was opened. Long lines attracted Gestapo attention. Perilous confrontations were resolved with bribes. Eventually, he registered more than 900 children, although he had names and details on 5,000. In early 1939, he left 2 friends, Trevor Chadwick and Bill Barazetti, in charge of Prague and returned to London to find foster homes, raise money, and arrange transportation. He and a few volunteers, including his mother, calling themselves the British Committee for Refugees from Czechoslovakia, Children's Section, enlisted aid from the Refugees Children's Movement, had photos of the children printed and appealed for funds in foster homes and newspaper ads, church and synagogue bulletins. Hundreds of families volunteered to take children, and money trickled in from donors. Folks. Not enough to cover all the costs, but Mr. Winton made up the difference himself. He also appealed to the Home Office for entry visas, but the response was slow and time was short. This was a few months before the war broke out, so they forged the Home Office entry permits.
What a great story.
A great forgery.
I just can't believe he never let anybody know what he did.
Man of simple means.
We're going to take a quick break, folks. We'll be right back with the regional news. Nice.
I forgot to take off my hat. When I'm doing the news, I should have my hat off. I knew it.
The taxman's taken
I was on
all my dough and left me in my stately home, blazing on a sunny afternoon. And I can't sail my yacht, he's taken everything I got. All I've got's this sunny afternoon.
Manticorp Tax and Accounting can help you minimize taxation, establish a corporate presence, and save you money. Our over 25 years of experience in domestic and international taxation and incorporation services makes us the best at what we do. Your first consultation at Manticorp is always free, and our discounted rates guarantee you will not end up paying for what you don't get. Try Manticorp today. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@manticorpusa.com.
And welcome back. In our regional news, San Francisco's Embarcadero, one of the city's most popular destinations for Bay Area residents and visitors, was the scene of a shooting Wednesday evening that left a woman dead and a man detained for questioning as a person of interest. The final incident occurred around 6:30 p.m. on Pier 14, a pedestrian pier atop a breakwater south of the Ferry Building and Mission Street. Officers responding to calls found a woman with a gunshot wound in the upper torso. The woman was transported in critical condition to San Francisco General Hospital, where she died shortly before 8:30. Catherine Steinley was from Pleasanton and was 31 years old. Witnesses on the scene heard no argument or dispute before the gunfire, according to Manfredi, which suggests that the incident was random. However, he stressed during a news conference at the scene that the investigation was still in its preliminary stages. By the time Manfredi met with reporters, police who descended on the area had found a man, later identified as Francisco Sanchez, hiding in AT&T Park. He matched the description of a person of interest who had been on the Long Narrow Pier at the time of the shooting, and he was held for questioning. No information about him was released, and he has not been charged. No other person of interest is being sought, and I believe actually he has been charged. I
He
think
has
I saw
now,
something
yes.
this morning that he was charged with murder. So we thank them for getting him.
Absolutely. And in a related story, news crews from 2 San Francisco Bay Area television stations were robbed at gunpoint, and a cameraman was pistol whipped during live broadcast yesterday. The San Francisco Chronicle reports that the robbery and assault occurred about 6 a.m. Thursday along the city's waterfront. Several camera crews were broadcasting live reports for local morning shows about the killings that occurred nearby Wednesday night. The cameraman was examined on the scene and wasn't hospitalized. The robber drove away in a black BMW with 2 cameras and 2 tripods from stations KTVU and KNTV. 2 other camera crews on the scene weren't robbed. Television and newspaper crews have been robbed in the San Francisco Bay Area several times in recent years. Many crews travel with armed guards when reporting in high-crime areas. Wednesday's murder and Thursday's robbery occurred at Pier 14 along the Embarcadero, a popular spot for tourists and locals. San Francisco police were first called to the pier at about 6:30 p.m. Wednesday, where they found a 31-year-old woman wounded with a gunshot to the upper body. Police detained a person of interest, but released no further details about the shooting. The woman died later at a hospital. About 12 hours later, the news crew from 4 local stations set up cameras to discuss the homicide. KTVU reporter Carol Liu at the scene told the station's news anchor as she went live on air, hold on, wait. The KNTV cameraman and reporter standing next to Liu were being menaced by a man with a gun. Don't shoot, viewers heard KNTV reporter Chris Sanchez yell at the gunman. The robber made off with gear after pistol whipping KNTV cameraman Alan Wapples, who suffered a gash behind the ear and bruised arm.
Is nothing sacred?
Hell no.
Now cameramen are getting robbed? Oh my God.
Yeah, part of the job.
Okay. A box van packed with fireworks exploded and burned to the ground on a Southern California freeway yesterday, clogging the main road between Los Angeles and Las Vegas at the beginning of the 4th of July holiday weekend. I'm sure everyone loved that. The Chevrolet van caught fire shortly before 1:30 p.m. on southbound Interstate 15, near the Nevada border, briefly closing southbound lanes for nearly an hour and backing up traffic several miles into Nevada, said California Highway Patrol Officer Ryan Camara. No one was injured. San Bernardino County firefighters found the van entirely engulfed in flames and the popping sound of fireworks going off. Jay Rutherford was driving to Los Angeles on tour with his Nashville, Tennessee-based band Las Colonias when the 5-member group saw billowing smoke and stalled traffic ahead. They drove by at 15 miles an hour, watching sparks and psychedelic explosions coming from the van parked on the side of the freeway. It appeared alive and dynamic, unlike other road fires I've seen. The van driver fled before the authorities arrived and hasn't been found. Can we say dumb criminal?
Again.
Jeez.
Isn't that Jay Leno's favorite thing?
I guess.
In a story that has really upset a lot of people in the county of Sonoma, the U.S. Justice Department announced late Wednesday that it will not file criminal charges against the Sonoma County Sheriff's deputy who shot 13-year-old Andy Lopez, ending a federal civil rights investigation into the 2013 shooting. The decision to close the file without bringing charges was based upon the conclusion that there is insufficient evidence to prove that the deputy willfully used excessive force, resulting in Andy's death, Justice Department spokesman Abraham Simmons said in a statement. The decision comes 1 year after Sonoma County District Attorney Joe Ravitch concluded that Deputy Eric Gilhaus acted within the law when he shot Lopez as the teen walked down a southwest Santa Rosa sidewalk carrying an airsoft BB gun designed to look like an AK-47 rifle. An internal investigation by the Sonoma County Sheriff's Office reached the same conclusion. The Sheriff's Office said in a statement Wednesday evening that Sheriff Steve Freitas and the members of the Sonoma County Sheriff's Office are pleased that all the investigations into the matter have been completed. U.S. Attorney Melinda Haig, joined by officials from the FBI and the Justice Department Civil Rights Division, met with representatives of the Lopez family on Wednesday to inform them of the decision. The Sheriff's Office, the Sonoma County District Attorney, and the Santa Rosa Police Department all cooperated with the federal investigation, according to the statement issued by the Sheriff's Office.
Surprised there already isn't rioting in the streets over that.
Yeah, I guess they're more
The FBI is working with police to catch vandals behind nearly a dozen fiber optic cable cuts in Northern California in the past year. The latest snips occurred Tuesday when someone sliced at least 3 fiber optic cables in an underground vault in Alameda County, east of San Francisco. The cuts disrupted internet and phone service around Sacramento for 20 hours before service was restored. FBI spokesman Greg Wuthrich says the FBI has known about the separate vandalism incidents and became involved last month because cable cuts in one location can affect businesses and customers in other cities and counties, requiring coordination. The FBI says fiber cables in Fremont, Berkeley, and San Jose have been intentionally severed in 11 instances since July 2014. Federal officials say there is no evidence that the San Francisco Bay Area acts are linked with the sabotage of a PG&E substation in April 2013. The nighttime attack, a day after the Boston Marathon bombings, knocked out phone and emergency 911 service in Silicon Valley. Wuthrich declined to say how many companies and customers were affected by the cable snips this week. Asked if the incident might be part of a broader and sophisticated attack, Wuthrich said, "We're not going in that direction." Customers of Wave Broadband experienced phone loss and slow internet on Tuesday. The Kirkland Washington Company provides internet, telephone, and television links through cables to customers in Oregon, Washington, and California. It was not a network-wide outage, said spokesman Mark Peterson. It was confined to some customers in and around suburban areas of Sacramento. He said the fiber cables affected are not owned by Wave Broadband, but by 2 internet backbone providers, Level 3 Communications and Zayo. The FBI is seeking help from the public. A press release warns that vandals may appear to be normal telecommunications maintenance workers or possess tools consistent with telecom maintenance work. So be careful out there.
What do they do without their internet?
Oh my goodness, why, you know?
Can't get Facebook.
It hurts them too.
I know. A former California real estate developer, once honored as the city's Citizen of the Year, was sentenced Thursday to a maximum of 14 years in prison for bilking investors who poured millions of dollars into failed development projects. Federal Los Angeles Judge Otis Wright handed down a harsher sentence than the government had requested for Kelly Gerhardt, 53, who pleaded guilty last year to wire fraud and money laundering. Gerhardt, who now lives in northeastern Ohio, apologized through tears Thursday to the most elderly people he cheated. "I'm so sorry for all the heartache I have caused." Gerhardt's attorneys had requested 5 years in prison, while federal prosecutors asked for 11. As federal marshals handcuffed Gerhardt, 2 investors smiled while a third cried. Judge Otis Wright spoke sternly to Gerhardt, saying he gave great weight to hundreds of elderly investors who had counted on this money to see them through their so-called golden years. "I would imagine many of them have a number of sleepless nights worrying about what their future holds in store." "And for what?" Wright asked. He said Gerhardt had done nothing to show he was motivated by anything other than sheer greed. Gerhardt and his attorney argued that he wasn't using investor money on himself, but had begun extensive work on the real estate projects they had funded, and when the housing market collapsed in 2007, scrambled to use his own money to try to get them finished.
Okay. Lost my place. Opponents of Yuba County's marijuana cultivation ordinance have filed paperwork with election officials seeking a voter initiative to create a new ordinance. Representatives of a group calling itself Progressive Business Alliance filed a notice of intent to circulate petitions for an initiative along with the proposed initiative itself. It would put before voters a less restrictive ordinance than that approved by county supervisors in March, which was similar to Clear Lake's zero tolerance ordinance.
Yep.
County Clerk Terry Hansen said the paperwork has been returned to proponents for a revision before petitions can be approved for circulation. If supporters ultimately cleared to move forward, they would need signatures of 20% of registered voters in the county to force a special election, or 10% to get it on the June 16th ballot.
After 25 years of trying to cajole and coerce the owner of Ukiah's historic Palace Hotel into rehabilitating the dilapidated 3-story building, the city of Ukiah plans to take over the Mammoth project instead. Ukiah officials will be seeking a court order that would place an independent receiver in charge of overseeing work on the shuttered 124-year hotel in the heart of Ukiah's historic downtown. It's also possible the building could be razed if salvaging proves infeasible. Fans of the old hotel with a checkered past, at various times it has been a bar, restaurant, music venue, and low-rent apartments, are pleased the city is moving forward with the receivership. It's the only way anything is going to happen with it. It's just falling apart by the week, said Alan Nicholson, a local architect and member of Friends of the Palace Hotel, which for years has tried to help its Marin County owner, Elada Lanes, with restoration efforts. But like city officials before them, they became discouraged by her inaction, and most now support having a court-appointed receiver take over. City officials, fed up with years of broken promises to repair the hotel, first threatened Lanes with a receivership more than 3 years ago. Last summer, they gave her a list of tasks and a timeline that had to be met by April 21st to avoid going to court. City officials said Lanes has completed only one of the first 7 tasks, asbestos removal. Lanes has been promising to rehabilitate the landmark hotel since 1990, when she and her former partners purchased a 60,000 square foot building in a tax sale for $115,000. Not bad. The city has spent more than $100,000 on studies and staff time trying to move the project forward. One study placed a $309,000 value on the hotel's land, but said it would cost more than that to remove the buildings.
Oh, that's
can't
such a
remove that
shame.
building. It's
I love
beautiful.
that building. And boy, when I was researching the photos for this story, some of the pictures of the interior that I saw were just spectacular. I've never been in it because they've had it boarded up ever since we've been here.
They had scaffolding last time I
But
checked.
yeah, but it's all gone now, and it's all boarded up. But inside, there's these massive, 3-story tall atriums and stuff. I mean, it's gorgeous.
Any money?
No, I don't think so. Not for that. Airports can be stressful. However, travelers flying out of San Francisco International Airport this 4th of July weekend are in luck. Canine visitors from the Peninsula Humane Society will be on hand to provide some extra comfort before boarding the plane. United Airlines and the Burlingame-based Peninsula Humane Society and SPCA have partnered for #UnitedPaws, an event running from Friday until Sunday where handlers and certified therapy dogs will interact with airport passengers to create a more calming environment. The #UnitedPaws event at SFO is part of a larger program that places local teams of handlers and their dogs in international airports at United Airlines terminals nationwide. The partnership, according to the Peninsula Humane Society, aims to show the public the unique value of interacting with dogs in stressful environments and realize the soothing benefit of canine companionship, even if it's just 15 or 20 minutes before a flight. According to the organization, #UnitedPaws has been positively received at many airports nationwide. I know, I like even seeing the canines when they're at the airport. It's really hard to go say hi.
Yeah, bite your hand off. You could bring Sydney down.
Oh, she'd be a good one for that.
She likes all the loving attention.
You're right.
As the state continues to experience near record and record hot conditions, increasing the severity of the drought's effects on communities, agriculture, and the environment, California's urban water suppliers report the highest level of conservation achieved to date for the month of May. The State Water Resources Control Board announced this week that statewide residential water use declined 28.9% in May, the steepest drop since Governor Jerry Brown called on all Californians to conserve water in the face of limited supplies. The numbers tell us that more Californians are stepping up to help make their communities more water secure, which is welcome news in the face of this dire drought, said State Water Board Chair Felicia Marcus. That said, we need all Californians to step up and keep it up, as we don't know when it will rain and snow again, because we don't. Make obvious statement. If the drought continues beyond this year, we'll all be glad we did. Enforcement and compliance statistics reported for the month of May also indicate that water suppliers are following up on water waste complaints and issuing formal warnings and penalties against alleged violators. Complaints are a very important tool for identifying leaks and overwatering that could go undetected for weeks, resulting in millions of gallons of wasted water. This latest information comes ahead of the June reporting period, the first month that the new statewide conservation standards are in effect and measured. Encouraged by the newest data, State Water Board officials call on all Californians to continue conserving as the drought persists and further reduce their water use in the critical summer months of June, July, August, and beyond. To learn about all the actions the state has taken to manage their water system and cope with the impacts of the drought, visit drought.ca.gov. Coming up next is the local news. We'll be back in a few.
Thanks for sticking around. We're not your normal news.
SSS Multimedia is sending you smoke signals. providing their clients with the ultimate communication and multimedia marketing, distribution, production, and web-based services. They feature high-def video equipment and quality audio sound. SSS is your multimedia source, from graphics for business cards to television production, radio, live sound, and everything in between. SSS is sending you smoke signals. Get your message out with SSS Multimedia. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@sssmultimedia.com.
The taxman's taken all my dough and left me in my stately home, blazing on a sunny afternoon. And I can't sail my yacht, he's taken everything I got. All I've got's this sunny afternoon.
Manticorp Tax and Accounting can help you minimize taxation, establish a corporate presence, and save you money. Our over 25 years of experience in domestic and international taxation and incorporation services makes us the best at what we do. Your first consultation at Manticorp is always free, and our discounted rates guarantee you will not end up paying for what you don't get. Try Manticorp today. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@manticorpusa.com.
In the summertime.
And welcome back. Authorities have confirmed one death from a crash involving an overturned big rig and two other vehicles yesterday morning. The incident closed down both traffic lanes for most of the day on Highway 29. Scanner reports began about 8:15 a.m., describing a head-on collision on the highway north of Kitts Corner near Kelseyville Auto Salvage. The 2008 International refrigerated box truck was reportedly heading northbound when 24-year-old Justin Brink of Clear Lake, the driver of a 2013 Mazda 3 driving southbound, allowed his vehicle to cross a double yellow line into the northbound lane, allegedly in an effort to avoid a car. The Mazda collided with the left front of the box truck. On impact, the truck driver lost control and the truck turned on its side, colliding with a 2006 Toyota driven by 68-year-old Monty Itrenes and his wife Jean of Ukiah, who was a passenger in the front seat. They sustained minor injuries and were transported to Sutter Lakeside Hospital. The truck came to rest, blocking both lanes of Highway 29. The driver of the truck was pronounced deceased at the scene. Brink sustained major injuries, including a broken leg, and was airlifted by Reach Air Ambulance to Santa Rosa Memorial Hospital. Heavy and medium tow trucks were requested for the big rig and the other vehicles involved. By 9 a.m., CHP, as well as officers from Lake County Sheriff's Office, were redirecting traffic to Red Hills Road, while both lanes on Highway 29 remained closed. Crews from the Kelseyville Fire Protection District, as well as Lake County Fire Protection District, responded to the call. Scanner reports indicated that officers initially estimated the closure would last about 2 hours. They did get one lane open a few hours later, but it wasn't until about 3:30 p.m. that the CHP reopened both lanes to traffic. The name of the deceased truck driver is still being withheld pending identification to next of kin. He was from Meridian, California. The death becomes the 12th fatality on Lake County roads so far this year. In an average year, 11 to 12 people lose their lives in highway accidents, and this is way above average now.
Yeah, that road scares the heck out of me, almost as bad as 20.
It's pretty bad.
Yesterday at approximately 3:40 in the afternoon, Clear Lake police were dispatched to the 15,000 block of 35th Avenue on reports of shots fired. Officers arriving on scene located an individual who had suffered unknown injuries. The victim was treated at the scene by medical personnel and transported to St. Helena Hospital, where he expired. The cause of death is pending the results of an autopsy. Witnesses at the scene provided a description of a vehicle seen leaving the scene of the incident. Investigation by Clear Lake police officers and detectives developed a person of interest in this case, and at this time the investigation is still ongoing pending further developments. This homicide is being investigated by the Clear Lake Police Department with assistance from the Lake County District Attorney's Office Investigations Unit. The name of the victim is not being released at this time, pending positive identification and notification of the next of kin. Any person with information in relation to this case is encouraged to contact Detective Ryan Peterson at the Clear Lake Police Department at 707-994-8251, extension 320.
As humans celebrate and enjoy the 4th of July weekend, if you own a pet, they're far less impressed. Many dogs and cats are deeply frightened by fireworks displays and can injure themselves and even run away trying to escape the nerve-wracking racket. July 5th is supposed to be the worst day for missing animals. Dogs left in the backyards, for example, can panic at loud sounds they don't understand and will find ways to escape, potentially injuring themselves in the process. In preparation for the holiday weekend, pet owners should take steps to ensure their animals are safe and as low stressed as possible. Keep your pets inside your home and remain with them if possible. Give them a safe place to retreat to, such as a kennel with extra blankets to keep them comfortable, or toys and treats to keep them distracted. Closing blinds and playing soothing music or other white noise may help animals as well. Some research shows classical music keeps dogs calm. Consider other calming measures, including pheromone collars, anti-anxiety chews, and even Prozac. I wouldn't give myself Prozac. Yeah. Do not bring your dog to a fireworks display. Many events won't admit dogs because of these safety concerns. Ensure dogs are licensed and have up-to-date contact information on their tags and microchips. And they do say July 5th is the busiest day at shelters because of the dogs.
In our case, Sydney is so mellow she wouldn't.
She doesn't mind.
Doesn't care about the kitty cats.
Okay.
Okay.
That's right. No, the kitty cats don't count.
Fireworks around the lake. Tonight there will be fireworks celebration in the Oaks, the Maxine Sherman Memorial Annual Fireworks, from 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. at Weegan Bay, Clear Lake Oaks. Widgeon. Sorry about that. I'm still new to the area, folks. In Clear Lake, the Lakeshore Lions Club is presenting an entire weekend of fun. There's a carnival all weekend, and it will be open until 10 p.m. tonight and through Sunday. Tomorrow there will be a 4th of July parade with vendors, worm races, car shows, smoked oysters, that's okay, snow cones, food galore, fireworks start at dark. There will also be alcohol, dunk tanks, and more. In Lakeport,
Will the alcohol be in the dunk tank?
Oh, good idea.
That would be the drunk tank.
Oh,
No, that's what happens afterwards. They go to the drunk
Okay.
tank.
In Lakeport, fireworks will be off Library Park from 9:30 to 9:40 p.m.
Remember, it's not your normal news, folks. Yes.
You go. You do the
Thank
weather,
you.
will
I am.
Okay.
Okay, so believe it or not, it actually rained last night, folks. Unexpectedly,
That
there
was
were
not
a
rain.
few sprinkles. Our deck was wet. A few sprinkles reported around the lake last night as an unexpected cloud cover brought drops of rain to surprise neighbors. Today, the cooling trend continues, and there will be partly cloudy skies with a high of 96. Hey, it's 10 degrees cooler. What the heck? Winds from the south-southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour, and it should be clear for the fireworks in the Oaks this evening with a low of 67. Winds from the southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour. On Saturday, there will be a mainly sunny sky, and the high will maintain at 96. Also, winds will be from the southwest, but increasing to 10 to 20 miles an hour. The evening will bring clear skies for the fabulous 4th of July fireworks show brought to you by the Lakeshore Lions Club in Clear Lake. Lows will be around 65 with winds from the southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour. On Sunday, it will be slightly cooler and mainly sunny with a high of 94. Winds will stay out of the southwest at 10 to 20 miles an hour, and Sunday night we'll see temperatures continue to drop with a mostly clear sky and a low of 62. Oh boy. Winds will remain from the southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour. When we join you again on Monday, we'll continue with lower temperatures with a mainly sunny sky and a high of 92. Steadily going down, folks. Winds will stay out of the southwest at 10 to 15 miles an
Does
hour.
that mean our air conditioning will finally turn off?
I hope so. Well, it also means the repair guys come on Monday. Now that it's cooling down.
And in sports, after some intense negotiations, the Warriors and forward Draymond Green reached a deal late Wednesday night worth $82 to $85 million per Bay Area News Group. I'm proud to say that I'll be a Warrior for at least the next 5 years, Green said in a video from Bleacher's Report. It's been a long journey to get to this point where there's always trying to overcome the odds overcome the doubters. To be in this position, signing back long-term with the Warriors is amazing. Green averaged career highs in points, 11.7, and rebounds at 8.2, while finishing in second place for the NBA Defensive Player of the Year. He excelled in the postseason as well, recording a triple-double in the finals, clinching win in Game 7. Jose Fernandez's comeback required a comeback. The precocious right-hander shook off a rocky start in his return from Tommy John surgery, pitching 6 innings and hitting a homer Thursday to help the Miami Marlins rally past the San Francisco Giants 5-4 and complete a 3-game sweep. The first 2 batters to face Fernandez scored, and he screamed at himself as he walked off the mound to the end of the first inning. I know that all too well.
Come on, I see you guys do that in senior baseball. I don't expect that in the big leagues.
After that, Fernandez, 1-0, found the form that had made him the 2013 NL Rookie of the Year. Pitching for the first time since May 9, 2014, he went 6 innings and allowed 3 runs. Justin Bauer's 3-run homer put the Marlins ahead to stay less than 24 hours after he hit a walk-off homer to cap a come-from-behind win. A.J. Ramos pitched a perfect night for his 12th save and 15 chances. The sweep was the first in a series of at least 3 games for Miami at home against the Giants since 1999. Fernandez outpitched Matt Cain, who also was making his 2015 debut. Kay sidelined last July by an elbow injury that required surgery, allowed 5 runs in 5 innings. Gregor Blanco homered against Fernandez, and Buster Posey also homered for the Giants. San Francisco is now 3 games behind the Los Angeles Dodgers. Scott Kazmir pitched 8 sparkling innings. Marcus Seaman homered for the first time in nearly 2 months, and the Oakland A's beat the Seattle Mariners 4-0 on Thursday night. Josh Phegley had a 2-run single, and Mark Canha added an RBI triple for the A's, who ended a 5-game losing streak against the Mariners. Kazmir retired 21 of the first 22 batters, allowing only 1-out double to Franklin Gutierrez on a 1-2 pitch in the 5th. Gutierrez also singled leading off the 8th, but was erased on a double play. Possible trade deadline target this month, Kazmir struck out 7 and hit a batter while improving to 5-0 in 7 starts against the AL West this season. Edward Mujica finished the 2-hitter. Seattle was coming off consecutive shutouts against San Diego and took an 18-inning scoreless streak into the series opener against Oakland. Jesse Chavez gets the start for Oakland tonight. He has a 1.98 ERA when pitching on 4 days rest this season. It is the 3rd lowest mark in the AL. The A's are still in last place in the division, 10.5 games behind the Houston Astros.
Hey,
Yeah, well, oh well.
sorry about that. All right, time for our final word. And you guys are probably going to love this. I think I'm going to predict there's going to be a mass exodus to Oregon this weekend. There's only one marijuana price tag that's legal now that pot prohibition is over in Oregon. Free. That's right. There's still no system in place to buy or sell weed. That process could take yet another year unless legislation passes that would make it legal for state medical marijuana dispensaries to sell to the public. But you can give weed away, and local groups are taking advantage of it. That's exactly what the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, NORML, did as the clock struck midnight on Wednesday, when it actually officially became legal, handing out joints and seeds as hundreds of locals crowded Burnside Bridge to celebrate marijuana legislation.
Legalization.
Oh, legalization, thank you.
Hey,
see?
There you go.
It was a smoke out with a message. Legalization is so much more than being able to smoke a joint in your home without being a criminal. It's a healthcare issue. It's a tax revenue issue. It saves states millions in the court system. And it ends the hidden costs of prosecution, which emerge when someone can't get a job because there's a possession charge on their record. Calico Castile of NORML said he was happy to see a community able to come together peacefully over something positive. It's great to see people from all walks of life out here handing out joints to each other and getting to know their neighbors, he told HuffPost. At midnight, NORML's Russ Belville started gifting party favors. There were a few police officers in the audience, though they didn't seem to care about the party that was going down. Until it's legal to buy or sell, pot will continue to be free at various events in Oregon. Today, for example, a sold-out Weed the People event promises that ticket holders will walk out with 7 grams in samples.
So why are you here?
Can I go away for the
No.
weekend?
I'm right with you.
Oh, no, you're not.
Thanks for joining us, folks. We really appreciate you supporting Lake County Magazine TV News. I'm Terry Larson,
And I'm Pete Schiffman.
and we're not your normal news. Our next broadcast will be at 3 o'clock this afternoon with Pasha Space. And then we also have at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, Sister T and the Bridge. Great music to start your day until noon. Thank you, and we'll see you again Monday at noon.
Have a safe holiday weekend.
Peace out.